we don't talk to a lot of book authors, and we need to change that. And Aaron West approached me about being on the show to talk about his book that details A24, the A24 new wave. A24, as you know, is the film company that puts out these little movies. Why is it that A24 has built such a amazing brand? People will go see a movie just because the A24 logo is in front of it. I saw one earlier this week. I saw the movie Undertone, which is A24. Let's talk to Aaron West about A24 films. Hey, Aaron, good to see you, man.
I'm seeing Undertone Friday. So what do you think of it?
I can't wait to tell my audience about it.
Oh,
I loved
gotcha.
it. It's going to not be for everybody, but I loved it. I like a horror film that takes risks. It felt very much, I thought it did what Blair Witch was trying to do even better, and probably best audio for a film I've seen this year.
That's what I've heard.
That's the podcast horror, right?
Yeah, it's a girl who has a podcast about true crime, and someone sends her an email with 10 audio files, and she's going through the 10. There's also other things happening in her life. It's so well done. Anyways, I'll talk about that on Friday. I don't want to ruin my review.
I'm sorry, I'm interviewing you.
No, it's all good. But there is the people even call it the cult of A24. Have you heard that term?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually had, by the way, thank you for having me. I'm a huge fan. You're old school. In fact, my film studies, I remember them telling us that you were credible. So this is, maybe 20 something years ago.
Oh my God.
So congrats on that, on being credible according to my film faculty.
And what happened?
Well, I won't tell them. No, I'm very honored to be here. Thank you for interviewing an author. So A24 is there is a cult, and I actually I spent about 2 years researching this book, and I kind of took I did a lot of reading, but I also kind of embedded myself. So I'm actually, I don't know if I've shared this widely, but I'm actually the A24 Reddit mod, or one of them, one of three.
Really?
You really see everything, and I mean this as a compliment. I mean the people that are A24 fans, I mean they're interesting people, because there are a lot of neophytes, a lot of young people, a lot of Gen X, or millennial, and they're really compassionate, very inclusive. So, Alan, I heard you talking about representation in context of James Gunn. So that's a big deal for the fans, but also just the way they market their materials. I mean, it really does feel kind of like a cult in a positive way, if that exists.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you this: I will go see any movie that A24 has the logo in the beginning. In fact, not sure if other people are aware of this. A24 has a fan club, and they put out a newsletter. It's like $60 a year, but they send you a huge welcome box that you can order gifts off the website, like DVDs. It pays for itself. I'm going to put myself larger here for a moment to show you. And this, Alan, I will give this to you on Monday. The recent issue is all dedicated to Pillion, and you'll find all sorts of like biker images here from the movie. Alan saw Pillion. Yeah. It was out of the theater before I got a chance to see it.
Are the pictures of the outfits?
Yes.
Oh, there's one. Yeah.
Yeah, there's lots.
The zines are really cool. They do one a quarter. Yeah.
But not just zines.
Yeah.
They do merch. They do a lot of this stuff. But like the fact that that's been around for a couple of years, they're aware. What is this? And also, like, I don't know if that's a good. Let's just go with this. Okay. We'll go with this for now. It's all right, Alan. We're cutting you off at the mouth.
But in terms of the cult, I mean, I used to be part of the Disney cult, and it was anytime Disney would put out a movie, I would be out watching it. And same thing here. I can't think of a studio nowadays where you hear the name of the studio and it's like, I must see this movie.
Yeah, very few have that reputation now. How did we're gonna have you on for a bit? We'll take questions from our audience.
Sure.
How did they build a rep what does A24 mean? I could guess, but I just never knew that. And like, how did they evolve to where they are now?
Well, that's a big question.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But
and
give me
I'll give a somewhat smallish answer, but A24 is actually named after an Italian highway. So while they were driving down the road, really on their way to Rome on vacation, they made the decision, and it was three people that came from independent circles. So a couple of different companies, many which you probably know, films. They've worked on films from the early 2000s through 2012 that you certainly know. Little Miss Sunshine was one of the. Actually, it's a long story, but they were driving when they decided, and they're like, we're going to do this. And so they were on the autostrada. They say all roads lead to Rome. So this one led to film. And so, yeah, they actually kind of misfired in the beginning. Their first film was A Glimpse Inside the Mind of Charles Swan III, which was Charlie Sheen's leading actor role. And this was during the Charlie Sheen free fall winning, the
wow.
one. But then the Spring Breakers rescued them, and then it was just they got lucky, but they also made really good choices. So they got Jonathan Glazer, Denis Villeneuve, Under the Skin with Jonathan Glazer, Alex Garland, of course, Ex Machina. So in the early years, they really kind of established this auteur, I guess, focus, and they really leaned into that, and now they just hit home run after home run. Right now, I'm working on the final proofread of the Ari Aster chapter, and I think Ari is pretty much the name and face of A24 these days, whether you like him or not.
Yeah, and I'll just say this: what I love, A24, they're not making $100 million superhero movies. You know what I mean?
Not yet.
These are the small films. And I'll just say this: on the website here, we've got on Cine Journeys, A24 book. There it is. There's the cover. Empowering artists, transforming modern cinema. When you look at the list of movies that A24 has been involved with, it's some here. And also what I like about A24, they're not elitist. They'll put out horror films, right?
Undertone. I haven't seen it yet, but and even the Philippou brothers. So they're still taking chances on these guys. Were YouTube celebrities. You guys could actually maybe pitch a movie to A24 and maybe get it made. It's worth a try. But they were great creators. They put their money into creating content, and it was a great transition from film. And A24 is actually taking chances on writers, on video directors, music video directors. Jonathan Glazer is a big one, but there have been others. Of course, actors. So they look for talent and they find it. And now sometimes it's a misnomer that every A24 movie is a great movie. They do have some films that haven't done as well.
True.
But a pretty high batting average and independent. So you mentioned the 100 million. It's been reported that Marty Supreme was 70 million, and the Smashing Machine was somewhere in that vicinity. They haven't revealed that, but they're doing. Speaking of Alex Garland, they're doing they're doing Backrooms here in a couple months. So that's a big YouTube property IP. Yeah.
What is that? Like, I've seen the trailer for that movie.
Have you seen the web series?
I have not. So I'm not gonna. Yeah, I don't want. I'm fascinated with what that is, and I don't want to know any more. So
there's really not much. Even if you watch the web series, I mean, I don't know how great it's going to be or how good it's going to be, but these guys are YouTube creators and just made web series, which they basically publish on YouTube. I don't know anything about it other than it's basically kind of a mystical. It's a lot of times when you think about what an A24 movie is, Backrooms kind of fits, even though it's IP.
Yeah, it's undefinable, and that I like that because A24 could in fact do a superhero movie. It wouldn't be like other superhero films. What I love about A24, it reminds me of the Wild West days of Sundance in the 90s. And curating the best movies at the festival. Like, what were the the best of Sundance, which I think Sundance, unfortunately, has become less relevant in terms of their curation. And A24, I do know, also picks up films in addition to funding films. They do, they're out there on the festival circuit looking for new talent. But what got them? What was the movie? And we have a lot of questions from our audience. We'll get to those.
Yeah, sure. Sundance is actually huge. A24 is very much about buzz, and a lot of Sundance comes very early in the year. Of course, we just had it this year, and there were a couple of acquisitions, as you mentioned. But so using Ari Aster, so that's when people will first see their films. Now, Ari Aster's Hereditary screened at Sundance, and that was really fun to research because the responses to Hereditary, just imagine going into just some blank movie and all you know is horror, and kind of like Backrooms. You have no clue what you're getting into, and then seeing Hereditary, whether you like it or not, it's going to have an impact. And Ari Aster, he sat in some of those screenings, and people were having visceral physical responses at Sundance. He actually loved that. Ari Aster's a very interesting individual, so that was what he was going for. He wanted to make people uncomfortable. But they pick up films at Sundance. But not only SXSW has been, South by Southwest has been huge for their history. Sundance, for acquisitions, but also for debuts. For this year, I think The Moment. No, not The Moment. The Drama, was that place Sundance? I forget, but they find them all over the place, and it's a huge festival.
So what was the movie that broke out A24? You mentioned their early films were kind of hit and miss. What was the one where it hit, and then after that, suddenly an identity began to? I believe that companies have personalities. Right? Marvel Studios personality, Lucasfilm, Disney. I'm talking about those are terrible. But other companies like a Focus Features, they have their own personality. But A24, they're both small and big in terms of indie, but there's an indie spirit that permeates. What's the first film that was like put them on the map?
Well, the answer is Spring Breakers. I don't think they would exist in their current form. Now, Harmony Korine is not maybe today what you think about as a A24 filmmaker. He's a really interesting guy. Quotes interesting guy, quote unquote. Very interesting. I think he does tap dancing in his house. He's a very, very weird dude. So that film I think actually put them on the map. But I'd say for their signature style, I'm actually going to go with two here because they premiered at TIFF at the same time, and that was Enemy and Under the Skin. Those both premiered at TIFF. Enemy did not make as big of a splash right away. But it did find life on streaming, and of course, Villeneuve has become, obviously mainstream filmmaker. He's far bigger than what A24 would afford or even approach at this time. However, in that film, there are elements of all of his other films. It's almost like that's a Rubik's Cube, along with some of his other earlier work. Or kind of like a Rosetta Stone for his style. And Under the Skin, Jonathan Glazer is like the guy that, after Birth, I shouldn't use those two words together. After the experience with Birth, which did go with a major studio, it wasn't a subsidiary. Actually, I think it was Sony. I forget, but that did not go great for him. They opened Birth wide. So just imagine if you've seen it, it's getting a little bit of a reappraisal now, but that didn't go well for him. So and then Under the Skin, if you've seen that, that's not it's not accessible. It's kind of a sci-fi horror, but it also has ScarJo, and it actually uses ScarJo's celebrity as basically like an unwritten character in the film. So those two critically huge acclaim. Under the Skin especially was very well loved by critics, but also weird.
That movie should come with a warning. It's Scarlett Johansson full frontal.
Yes,
there's that. To be warned. Like, just let people know in advance. But I saw that in a theater when it opened, and just shocked And so there's an actor in there that's
Yeah.
unusual looking that she
Adam
interacts
Pearson.
with.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's so much about that film. But now A24 has built a reputation for films that swing for the fences. Not everything is a big hit, but everything is. There's a sense of mystery and discovery when I see there's something new from when that logo pops. I'm very curious. And
Yeah.
before we go to our questions from chat, when does the book come out? Can I get it on Amazon or wherever I buy books?
Yeah, a few weeks. So right now it's May 2026.
Okay.
The actual we're DIY ourselves. We're an independent. We're actually building a publishing company through this, and we have some other books planned, including another A24 iteration, and then a book I'm going to announce probably in a few weeks. I wish I could announce it here, but I can't. It's
Announce
awesome,
it now. Come on, why not? Break some news.
Give me 5 minutes.
Is it film related?
It's film related.
Film
Yeah.
related. Okay. All right. That's good.
Well, how many people we have in the chat? A few hundred?
About 1,000,
Okay.
1,100.
Nobody will tell anybody, right? It stays here.
No problem.
I'll preface that this is a book that we're preparing, that we're planning. It's related to some of the podcasts. I've been a podcaster about physical media a lot. So I'll say that the next book that we're preparing right now is about the Criterion Collection.
Okay. Now, oh my God, that will be amazing. Now, last question before we go to chat comments. And Alan,
I have a question too. But
oh yeah, please. Please.
Hey, Alan.
Yeah. Hey. So a discussion we have a lot on our channel here is the idea of budget, audience, and profit. Do you have an idea of how A24 budgets films? Do they look at audience, the potential audience, do you have any insights in that area?
So they're a private company. So I could have showed up in New York and asked them for their books. I don't think they would have given them to me, but
you have an idea.
But I'm able to glean a lot just from the experience. First off, this actually ties back to your early question about the cult of A24 and the membership. Now that membership has roughly, again, it's not reported, it's not disclosed, but it's been reported about 100,000 subscribers. So it's a pretty big audience. And as Chris said, the merch goes like crazy. So if you saw the Marty Supreme, in fact, if I can walk to the other room, I might show you some Marty Supreme merch if you want to see it. But that stuff flew out off the shelves, and they do not charge low prices. It's a premium, and they're also selling Blu-rays. And so I do get into the economics of this in the book. There's also streaming, and the streaming chapter is called Streamonomics. But they are able to basically make. They're more than just a traditional budget box office movie studio. Frankly, all of them are these days. PVOD, really, COVID transformed the industry in a good way. I think the industry had to do some things to survive. But A24, they basically there's box office dollars, but then there's the aftermarket, then there's the merch. They're multipliers, and so they're able to actually monetize. So their budgets. So, for example, Sorry Baby, they picked that up at Sundance last year, to what Chris's point, and I believe they paid $8 million for the rights, and I believe Sorry Baby made $3 million at the box office. But of course, obviously, a very, very successful property for them, even if it didn't win a ton of awards. They've had some merch, but the thing is, they invested in Eva Victor as a creator, and they know that she's going to do things with them to enhance their brand. They're going to make money, and probably her next picture, kind of like the Philpott brothers, actually, they acquired Talk to Me at Sundance, and then Bring Her Back did very, very well. So that the short answer to your question is probably in the 1 to 10 million range with some flexibility. I think Warfare was like 25 million last year. I think Friendship was like 10 million as far as we know. So they generally, if you just look at box office, generally at best break even, maybe a little bit of a loss, and then sometimes they have a big hit. Materialist was a big hit for them, obviously Marty Supreme, but Eddington, Smashing Machine didn't do so well. So
even though I really love Eddington,
I like Smashing Machine.
Yeah, speaking of big swings,
Eddington. I like both those movies. So we have questions from our chat. Last question from me. Did A24 cooperate with you? Were they did they give you access?
I'm glad you asked that. No, this is technically unofficial. I've had some conversations with various departments, and they've been very, very friendly, very nice. One thing they want to make it clear that this is not their book. That
Right.
I think they're going to love it. I think so far everybody that's read it has loved it. So I think they'll find it. It's not a hagiography, and I think it can't be. I think A24 also has a publishing business. So a lot of the books or a lot of films we've mentioned have related books or publications. A lot of them will too. The X trilogy has little novels that they publish. But yeah, they haven't approved it, but I think I don't think they could write a book about themselves because I don't think they have the objectivity. I mean, you have to read some brutal takes. You have to be somewhat, removed. So I think it would come off as PR, and I think people would see through that
Right.
these days.
Even though I do like their podcast, I just heard Sean Baker on there like directors interviewing directors. It's just everything they put together. They know their audience. I like stuff that's eclectic and weird, so they're perfect for me. Let's go to our chat. We have a lot of comments. We'll start from the bottom. We'll start from the bottom. Alan, go for it.
Yes. From Tony Elias. Hold on, let me just grab this here. For Tony Elias, A24's net value was 2.5 billion in 2022, and now it's at 3.5 billion. That's a 40% increase. That's absolutely cooking. They are absolutely cooking.
So Tony, there's a chapter, the business chapter. I try not to. It's not a business book, and I actually say that this is a book about a business, but it's not a business book. But I try to demystify the numbers. So that valuation that he's talking about, the $3.5 billion, is from Thrive Capital. So anytime they go and look for capital, the company that funds them has to value what they're worth. And yeah, they it's weird because COVID was so disruptive but they bounced back and they found other avenues and those are really paying off for them. That's where the multipliers. So in the book, I compare the valuation, where they are today as a business value compared to like just a general movie production and distribution, go to streaming service. That is that budget to box office, Alan. And that's where you see the difference in the multiplier. They're able to they print money basically. They're doing very, very well.
There's lots of comments here. Let's just go through
Let's
them.
see. Super hang, Scarlet, full frontal. Boing.
It's not as. I mean, like
it's not super sexy.
It's not super sexy. I wouldn't watch Under the Skin for that reason.
but you can.
But I know a lot of people did.
You can if you want.
Hey, money is money. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
ADLS24. Criterion is a great pick to study their success.
Yeah, I'm probably going to be in trouble because I shared that prematurely, but it's going to be out in a few weeks. So
I heard it's a rumor, and that it may.
Yeah, well, it may not happen, and I'll share that it's slated for 2028. So what I can share is that I have a podcast called Criterion Now. It was on Criterion Cast. It still exists, but it's been a little slow because of this. So interesting, Kenneth. Yeah. So actually, Lady Bird is my favorite movie of A24, and I watched it like 4 times a weekend when I was writing the Gerwig chapter, and I love the Gerwig chapter. I just love her work. In fact, Lady Bird, we are planning on having a celebration party in Atlanta. That's where we're based, and Lady Bird is the movie that we're hoping to play, but still dates to come. But
that's great.
A lot of people hate the A24 movies. It's fine.
Really? They hate them?
Dix the musical. You wouldn't see that.
Well, there's some A24 I don't like, but that's normal. Okay.
Well,
I'd rather watch Julian
the
over
Witch
Dix.
is one.
The Witch.
Yeah. I think the bigger budget is a question. This is a big.
Wait. We need to read the question.
Oh, please. Sorry.
All right, let's do this. ADLS24. As an A24 fan, I was concerned when they announced plans to make bigger budgeted projects in the future. What was the motivation behind that decision beyond the bottom line? Could they lose their way?
So they could. Where A24 has found their foothold is really with a niche. So so those mid majors, even like Focus Features, they don't want to tackle the $5 million budgets or the $1 million budgets. And I think even still, the movies that are being that are coming out right, I think Undertone. I don't know what the budget for Undertone, but that's not a major budget. But yeah, I think it's a concern that they did take a big swing with Marty Supreme, budget wise, and I like Marty Supreme quite a bit. I know it's we'll see this weekend if it gets any awards. I'm not expecting any, maybe Timmy, but yeah, no, I think it's going against the studios is a risk for them. I'd say systemically, because they could. They might not survive, but they always have their indie foundation, and I think that they're always going to be the player when it comes to these niche weird films, and people like them.
Well, as long as they don't go the way of Lionsgate, they'll be fine.
Used to put out their Blu-rays actually, but now they put them out themselves.
All right, ADLS24. A24 has always done a fantastic job marketing their films, from their trailer construction to utilizing their fan club to hiring interesting filmmakers. What do you think is the secret sauce? What do you think the secret sauce has been?
They are very good at marketing. I'm like, they're being copied. I mean, we've seen it with Neon Movie. You know, they're and I shouldn't say copied, but they're being influenced. Those companies have been influenced by A24's the ground that they've laid. Trailer construction is a great point, because I personally love teaser trailers. I don't like full trailers because I think they give too much away. Sometimes it can backfire. Like in the book, I talk about It Comes at Night, because so that's 2017 trailer, Edward Schultz. I think it's 2017. Amazing trailer and got people into theaters, but it was misleading. So I think they found a happy medium to where there's a bit of an idea. I think Undertone was an amazing trailer. So I know that's the movie du jour. I think The Drama is a pretty good trailer. We'll see in a few weeks.
I have no idea. That movie, the more marketing comes out, I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know what this is.
Yeah. But sometimes I think Marty Supreme, they went a little further, and so I think people were tired of the marketing Marty Supreme. I mean, I think Timothy Chalamet actually played a part in that, because he was really front and center for them, which I'm sure they were not disappointed by. But yeah, no, they've made it art. As far as the secret sauce, I don't know that there is any secret sauce. I think they've just they're more than a decade plus experience, and they're just very savvy at it. And they also have what sets them apart is they started Instagram in 2012 or whenever 2013, and they gained followers. So they have millions of followers. You can't just be a movie studio and start tomorrow and have 3 million followers. And they found a way to engage those followers. So yeah, that's
more comments and questions here.
All right. From Dark Hierophant, member for 25 months. A24 is an adjective as to how films look and feel.
That's funny, because as I've been working on this, I have friends and I have people in my life that aren't film people, believe it or not. And when they ask, usually I say Moonlight, because everybody knows Moonlight, or maybe Midsommar or something. But yeah, so many people have approached me and been like, man, I love this movie. Recently was Weapons. So like, oh, that A24 movie Weapons. Really enjoyed that. I'm like, yeah. But yeah, it has become, it's kind of like Lynchian or a Lovecraftian. So like it's kind of an intangible, undefinable. But when somebody says, I'm looking for something A24, people generally know what that means.
Yeah, it's become, you're right, it's like an adjective now. There's an A24 is almost an adjective associated with indie or independent or not mainstream. Not mainstream is kind of A24.
But hip, but cool, yeah.
And hip and cool.
The studio used that.
Yeah.
I was. Oh, sorry. I'll let you read.
Go ahead, Alan.
Oh yeah. The theme is not funny. The Smash Machine is better than Marty Supreme, but I love them both.
Yeah, and I think I don't think that's a hot take at this point. I think there's a little bit of a backlash going around with Marty Supreme, even though there was a lot of buzz. Speaking of which, they had a New York Film Festival big buzzy premiere that's when that train started rolling. I personally couldn't get there with Smashing Machine. I'm going to give it another watch at some point, but I want to see the documentary that it's made of, because I just I couldn't.
I'd rather see the doc.
Yeah, they pretty much copied the documentary.
Yeah.
I don't think you can find it anymore. It was available like on maybe Archive or something like that. But I think they nipped that in the bud.
Yeah, The Rock got jealous that there's another movie about it.
Okay, more comments, Alan.
All right, Sir Dirty Dog, I watched Under the Skin. It's no hell, and ScarJo really ain't playing sexy in it.
That's true.
She's looking sexy in it, though.
What's funny is ScarJo. So this was like at the height of her being in the tabloids. She has never really left, but she was really in the tabloids then. And so they filmed that in Ireland with a lot of secret cameras and her just driving around in a van. And they just insane amount of footage. They actually built a camera for that movie. And the thing is, they thought the people would recognize ScarJo because she's ScarJo. And a few did, but a lot, surprisingly enough, didn't. Although ScarJo, as Under the Skin, as her character there, became very recognizable. She couldn't get away with it today.
For sure. Wow, I didn't know that they just use hidden cameras, because the scenes are so intimate. Like, just I guess you could hide a camera.
They were like. At any given moment, there were like 8 to 12 cameras in the van, and they actually had to create a camera because not one didn't exist that could capture the footage. One, it either wasn't small enough to hide in the van, or it wasn't, or if the small ones weren't good enough to actually have usable footage. I want to say they had like, I don't know the amount of hours, like 60,000 hours. It was a lot of footage. They actually edited the movie. And I think it took them like 8 months to edit it, and they were like, this doesn't work, and they actually restarted just because they had so much. Yeah.
Wow.
You know, I'm looking at a list of their films, and it surprises me how they're always in the Oscar talk.
Always.
Oscar, but
yes.
And what is it? Is it 2 Best Picture wins? Am I right?
Yeah, Moonlight and Everything Everywhere all at once. Yeah.
I mean, is that just lucky happenstance, or is there some kind of?
Well, it's funny. I in the middle. So this book actually spans their formative years through 2018, 2019. So Midsommar is the last actual film that gets discussed, and so right in the middle, I have what's called the awards year. It's actually kind of an intermission, and this is a pretty thick book. It's about roughly 500 pages or so.
Wow.
So it's it's small pages, but still, I mean, it's not that small. It's a pretty robust book. But right middle through is the awards year, which was not Moonlight, but Moonlight was one of the big. Everybody knows the La La Land situation. So the big success was actually Ex Machina. Got the cinematography, of course, Room, Brie Larson. So they and Amy won Best Documentary that year. So they found a way in, and they inherited, but they didn't imitate. Miramax's strategy. That they're no Weinstein. They don't use those kind of shenanigans, but they're really good with award season. So
yeah, but I'll say Miramax going on the wane. That was the rise of A24. I got Aaron, thank you so much for being on the show. The website, cinejourneys.com /A24 book. Look for it. Comes out in May. You can order it digital. It's on Amazon Kindle. You've got links.
We'll put the link. It'll be print very, very soon, probably in a few weeks.
Very soon. So thank you so much for talking to us on the show. Congrats on the book. As soon as I saw that, had to get you on. There you go.
Yeah.
I
love the book so much.
Turn your book cover into a T-shirt.
Although I don't walk around in public like this because I think that's too egocentric. Great talking to you guys. Love you.
Great talking to you. Take care, Aaron. Thank you so much. Guys.